All right. Hi, ABQ moms. My name is Mary Beth, and I am here with Shari Stewart, who is the science coordinator at Manzano Day School. So, Shari, I'll go ahead and start off by giving you a couple minutes to just tell us about yourself. Tell us what you do at Manzano Day School.
Awesome. Well, I'm an ABQ mom as well. I have two teenagers. Most important job I have is I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. And then I've been here teaching at Manzano for about 20 years. I took a little bit of a break when I did have the kiddos and we
Mhm.
moved. But I've been teaching for about 26 years. And this is my 5th year as the science coordinator here at Manzano Day School. I've taught pretty much every grade throughout my tenure of teaching. But I really feel like I found my niche as the science coordinator because I'm able to kind of really zone in on my love of science and bringing that to the children. So yeah, my 5th year doing that. So
That's awesome. And you have a super cool lab behind you.
yes, we're in the lab right now. Yep, this is the science lab.
That's exciting. So my son is 2 years old,
Mhm.
so I know nothing about
Yeah.
STEM or any of the programs in the schools right now. So can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what is STEM or is it
Yeah.
STEM?
Well, that's great. I'm glad you said that because so STEM is an acronym and it stands for science, which is the first S. So it's like it's just understanding the study of the world around you and doing observations, describing, and experiments. That's science. That's the S. T is for technology, and so technology is the use and the knowledge to invent something new using a technological tool, often to solve a problem that you're looking at for. And then the E is engineering, and engineering is the use of science and math to design and make something new, or come up with a new system or a new structure for something. So engineering something. And then the M stands for math, and just math, as you know, is the study of numbers and just how they relate to each other and the world around us. It has a lot to do with that. But you said, is it STEAM? So you can add the A for art
Okay.
from STEAM and refer to like any creative activity or connection that you have for emotion, technical skill, or anything. And then I've even seen it referred to as STREAM with an R. And I've seen the R be for reading, so like a reading comprehension piece, or I use it in the lab here for robotics
Oh,
because I do
wow.
a robotics club. So using robots to program and come up with a control and coding and things of that nature. So STEAM, STEM, Stream, it's all of them. That's what they all are. Yeah,
It's all kind
it's
of
all
part of.
encompassed. All
That's
encompassed.
awesome.
Mhm.
So how do you teach STEM in elementary school?
So I think it's really important. I think to even why we have to teach STEM in elementary school. I came across an article just the other day, and it was from NYU's Dispatch, and they actually startled me. And I did this a little bit of research before we did the interview today, and it says that a study at NYU shows that students reaching the 4th grade, 30% of them, 30% of the boys and girls have actually lost interest in science related subjects by the 4th grade.
Wow.
That's terrifying to me. As a science teacher, I'm like, no. And we're
Yeah.
really not preparing them for their future. So anything that we can do to kind of foster that curiosity, we know kids are naturally curious. They want to know, well, why is the sky blue? What does this cloud mean? And all of these great questions that they're constantly asking us as moms, we know that they're going to ask these questions. So fostering that is the way to really kind of keep that alive, that natural curiosity. So I think it's super important to teach in schools. And how do you teach it? Well, it's not just a table in your classroom or in a classroom or even at a preschool that has like a bunch of shells. You have to have some sort of context to it. So you can put out some shells, but then like introduce a book that shows like how they're biped shells and different types of shells or leaves even, whatever it might be, like especially with the fall, going out on a leaf hunt, putting a bunch of leaves out, sorting them into different groups. That's science, that's data collection, all of those great things. I think tapping into what they're already curious about is going to be the key. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So you kind of combine everything all at
Mhm.
once then. Okay.
Absolutely.
So
That's,
how
I'm sorry, but I also feel like science can be integrated into any subject area. It can be reading, it can be writing, it can be the math, it can be everything. So that's why STEAM or STEM is so important, because it does get everything encompassed. It's all
Yeah,
integrated. Mhm.
absolutely. So what would a typical lesson consist of?
Okay, so just the other day with my pre-K kiddos, I was teaching them, those are my youngest ones. We were learning about fall and what are some of the signs that we know that it's now a new season and it's the fall season. Well, obviously the leaves are falling. Well, why do they do that? And so just asking them questions and getting their curiosity going and asking them about it. Then we went outside and go on a leaf hunt, collect some different kinds of leaves from the different kinds of trees that we have on the playground. You could do it in your neighborhood, walk around the neighborhood and collect leaves from different places. Your neighbors will thank you, right?
I know, especially right now.
Yep, grab some leaves, then bring them home, and then do the rubbings that we all do. That's the art piece. Do those cool rubbings. Look at the veins. What is that? Why are they there? And then investigate it together. That is just taking it to another level. So that's what we did here on the campus. We just did the rubbing, did investigation. Well, what are those? What are the veins for? What do they do? Why do they change color? We learned a huge word. My pre-Kers were going around talking about chlorophyll. Well,
Oh my
chlorophyll
gosh.
makes the leaves green. Chlorophyll. So the leaves are green because of chlorophyll. And then when it gets cold, the trees can sense that. So they pull their chlorophyll in. So we talked about that. We got up and we were trees and we pulled our chlorophyll in, just making it fun.
That's
Um,
fun.
but at the same time, engaging with the scientific meaning behind it. So I could have, like I said, could have just brought in a tray of leaves and say, hey, let's look at these. And we could have sorted them and that would have been fine. But really kind of incorporating the science behind it. Well, why is this leaf different? And why do you think this leaf is shaped like this? Or all of those different components. I think just helping them to develop those questions. One thing that I feel like children, when I read that statistic, children nowadays get so much information fed to them. We want to have them start developing their own questions and nurture that a little bit more, and helping them by finding out the good questions that they really want to look into. Well, this leaf is like a purpley color, Miss Shari. So why is this one kind of a yellow color? Well, that's the hidden color of the tree. That's actually why it's that way. So it's kind of just fun, just kind of dive in a little deeper. So that was with my pre-K kids. Mm-hmm.
That sounds like fun.
It was so much fun. I love it.
I might have to try to do that a little bit with my 2-year-olds.
Yeah, and it's totally accessible. Totally
Yeah,
accessible
that's
to
great. So
anybody. You don't have to be a science teacher to do it.
yeah. Yeah. So what are the benefits of a STEM or a STEAM program to your students?
Yeah, so like I just said, it encourages kids to hopefully prepare them for the future. Our children, my teenagers, your 2-year-old, all of our kids are going to go into a world where they need to be more aware of what's happening with the world, not just environmentally, but also just technologically or mathematically. All of these things are going to be continually changing. And so, whatever we can do at a young age to foster that love of that curiosity and keeping it things going is just going to help them and benefit them in the future. We want them to look at science as something that, yes, I am a scientist. Just because I'm looking at leaves, that makes you a scientist. If you're wondering and observing and looking at things, that makes you a scientist. And then maybe I want to go further. Maybe I want to become a botanist. Maybe I want to study biology.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping those light bulbs aglow, I think it's just absolutely essential for our children as they grow up.
So a lot that we can do at home then too to kind of foster that.
Yeah. So just like I said, some easy things at home. Obviously, kids are going to be on devices. So let's talk about the device that you're on. If you're playing a cool game, which I totally get, my kids do it too. But let's talk about the game that you're on. There's a code behind that. In order for this little guy to move this, there's somebody that had to create a code that made it happen. Well, what's a code? Let's go in and let's find out what a code is. And you can do coding activities just even that are not on the computer. There's easy ones that you can upload and those are really fun too, but there's easy ones you can do just at home with just following a path, like playing chess even, or going from the kitchen to your bedroom. How did you get there? Well, let's talk about that's a code. So you have to step forward 4 steps, take a right hand turn, and then turn this. All of that is all a part of coding. And so that's a way you can foster it at home. Again, I said going on a little walk in the neighborhood. Kids love to blow stuff up. They love that. The classic vinegar and baking soda. Well, what we just did with my 4th graders just this week is we turned it into a volcano because we've been studying volcanic eruptions. And so we did it in a little glass jar. And they had to watch as the carbon dioxide gas filled up, which was their magma chamber, and then it erupted. So connecting it to the science behind it. Yes, you can just mix them and watch it happen, but adding that layer is just going to, well, do we have volcanoes here? Yes, we do. And then going into what? We have a super volcano, one of the best ones in the whole world. People from all over come and study Valles Calderas. It's right here in New Mexico. Just kind of fostering that excitement for science. I think that is what we can do as parents, just getting them excited about science and that it's approachable. It's easy. It's in their nature, and it's in our nature to kind of keep it going. And it's in our best interest too for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And gets everyone outside and spending time together too, even. So it's helpful in a lot of ways.
And even if it's cold, I mean, if it's a cold, rainy day, let's talk about the weather then. I was just talking with one of my little first kindergartners who are learning about cloud types, and like, are these the cirrus clouds, Miss Shari? I'm like, oh my gosh, you remember that's so great. So just talking about what kind of clouds there are out there. Just different things. There's so many different things. Bird watching, whatever. Getting outside is huge, but it doesn't have to be. You could be inside and enjoy it too. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Some really great ideas too. I'm gonna have to work on some of those now. And so finally, like, what sets Manzano Day School apart from other schools in the way that you teach and approach?
That's a great question. So one of the things that I always say, I feel like my position is kind of unique to an elementary school. We don't have a lot of science coordinators in elementary schools.
No.
And it's more of a middle school science coordinator or science teachers in high school. So to be able to bring the scientific method to my 4-year-olds, I think is pretty unique. We're talking about hypothesis right from the moment they're in pre-K. We learn that, we learn vocabulary and we learn the process. So I think that's one piece of it, that they have a lab that they can come to and see what a lab looks like and experience experiments in the lab, go through the process. But I also feel like here at Manzano, another thing that's really unique to us is I say we have 4 layers of science, because I work as a coordinator. I am working hand in hand with classroom teachers all the time to make sure that we're doing lessons that are in sync. So when we're learning our science, we're doing it together. So for example, when my 1st graders were learning about the moon phases, I was doing moon phases in the lab. When my, like I said, 4th graders were doing volcanoes, I was doing volcanoes in the lab. The teachers were learning about mapping the ring of fire, where it is globally. So they're learning a mapping skill. So working together is another layer that we have here at Manzano. And then the other 2 layers have to do with our Fenton Ranch experience. So here at Manzano, we have an environmental education that's located in the Jemez Mountains. And there's a director for that, the Fenton director. So every student at our school gets to go up to Fenton Ranch and spend the nights. With the older grades, they spend 2 nights, and the younger grades, they spend 1 night. And pre-K and K just go up for the day, just to kind of get used to where it is. But then they're immersed in the environment. They're outside learning about environmental and stewardship and things of that nature. And then the Fenton director comes back to Manzano. So that's the 4th layer. He comes back and he and I work together in the science lab right here. So it's like 4 layers of science that they're constantly being immersed in.
Wow, that's really great.
Yeah, just fostering that love. We do a STEM fair every year. It's an annual event. The last couple of years we've had it just voluntary, like if kids are interested in science and they can showcase things that they're interested in and do experiments. And I've had over 100 kids every year participating in that, which I'm so proud of them, because they're going above and beyond homework and dance and soccer and all. They're doing something that just for fun, just to show it off. And then we have members in the community, and I'm always looking for judges. So we have members of the community that will come in and they'll listen to the kids and just judge them. And what they're doing is just providing an ear to their experience. So it's pretty fun. So yeah. And we have clubs too. We have science clubs and robotics clubs and coding clubs. So lots of opportunities at Manzano.
Wow, that sounds really great. Yeah, is there anything else you have that you want to share today?
I just feel like don't be afraid of science. I think that's my biggest thing. When I took this position, I wanted to share my passion for science, my love of just investigating things and showing people that it's not an unapproachable subject. Ooh, I don't want to do science, or I don't do science because it's just, I don't mix chemicals and stuff. You don't have to. Yeah. Science is all things. There's so many ways to explore science. It's biology, it's life science, it's earth science, it's physical science, it's all of these different things. And just know that it's approachable. And there's so many things out there in the world. Pinterest is your scientific friend. Just go down Pinterest if you want to do a leaf hunt. What do I do? Type it in and they'll give you all kinds of great ideas too. So, but just don't be afraid of it. Have fun and embrace that curiosity. So.
Great. I'm definitely going to use some of this with my son. And hopefully everyone else does too. This was some really great ideas, great tips. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sit with us. We really appreciate you. And I know I learned a lot. So
yay, thank you. Nice. And it was nice to meet you and nice to meet everybody. And again, just enjoy science. Love science.
Thank you so much.